G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because second game, All Blacks versus England at Eden Park. The team has just been announced and it's very interesting to me because both teams have actually opted to play the same team except for the obvious couple of injuries that was forced to be replaced. So this indicates to me that both teams actually were pretty happy with the strategy in terms of the selection they had proposed from last week. And they think that whatever they were doing last week is good enough to win this game. So obviously this is less of an issue for the All Blacks than it is for the English, because the English came in last week, pretty much caught the All Blacks with the pants down, with their strategy, with the rush defense, with the way that they counter-attacked, and they still could not win the game. So no changes were made in terms of strategically shuffling up the lineup. Was a little bit surprising to me, because this week at Eden Park, the All Blacks will have a week to study what happened last week and prepare for that in advance. And the All Blacks, despite getting caught with the pants down last week, was still able to win the game with a very strong bench performance. And I was actually expecting maybe Beauden Barrett to be in the starting position, but obviously the coaching staff has a longer, vision for the team, not just someone that can win the game tomorrow sort of thing. So I kind of backed that. They kept Damian McKenzie in the starting position despite the lackluster performance last week. And obviously the big thing last week was the lack of shot clock, causing Damian McKenzie to miss one of his kicks, had one of his kicks cancelled by the referee because he missed the shot clock. And the Super Rugby, it's not just New Zealand, Super Rugby in Australia as well, don't have a shot clock. This has been a thing that's supposed to be introduced since the Rugby World Cup last year, in fact before the Rugby World Cup. Neither nation has opted to adopt that. Say what you want about the mentality of these unions operating the business of rugby, but they're really falling behind. And this week, it took almost the All Blacks costing themselves a game for them to finally wake up to the fact, the importance of a shot clock and getting that added into the Eden Park game next week. So that'll be a change for once for the New Zealand Rugby. Again, really far behind the trend that is the current guideline of World Rugby, and they almost cost their own team a massive test match. There were, as I already mentioned, the injury for the England team is in the loose prop position. Joe Marler hurt his leg. There was a new player caught into the team, so Finn Baxter will be starting, and Bevan Rodd will be on the bench for England. For the All Blacks now, the injury is out of TJ Perenara. He hyperextended his leg during the game, and Finlay Christie has moved up from the bench to the starting position, and Cortez Ratama has moved up from holding tackling bags into the bench position. I actually was interesting to see that Cortez Ratama wasn't immediately into the starting position, because he's, Damian McKenzie's partner in crime at the Chiefs is Cortez Ratama, and Finlay Christie plays for the Blues. So I didn't think that the two combinations, 9 and 10, was actually that crisp last week for the All Blacks. So it's interesting to see that they didn't just go with Ratama in the starting position this week. But yeah, the changes were made due to injuries for both teams. The weather on the weekend, likely just before the rain's going to pour in before next week. Saturday at Eden Park, a little bit of cloudy weather, dry on Friday, so it will be a really good conditions for both teams to hit it out for this match. Now, the wild card in this game is the referee, Mr. Nick Berry of Australia. He is actually, I think this will be a big advantage for the All Blacks, to be very frank with you, as somebody that he's worked with throughout Super Rugby. A lot of the players have worked with him throughout Super Rugby. They will have a good sense of what he's looking for. As the thing especially comes to the scrummaging, the English were able to get away with pulling the scrum back or not holding the weight on engagement earlier in a few scrums. I think Nick Berry will be onto that, and the way that he adjudicates the scrummaging is more consistent with the way that New Zealand rugby is used to through Super Rugby. So I think that's a big advantage for the New Zealanders when it comes to Nick Berry. And Nick Berry's interpretations of the breakdowns is a lot more relaxed than it is with the referee last week, the Georgian referee last week, Nika Ashuma-Kelly. So that is a big advantage for the New Zealanders. So the lineup now pretty much unchanged, like I already mentioned. Coming in the starting position, I am Groot at number 1 position, Cody Taylor number 2, Tyrell Lomax number 3, Finn Baxter moved up from the bench, Jamie George, number 2, and Will Stewart retains the number 3 jersey. The scrum was pretty dominant for the All Blacks from start to the end. The England, like I said, was able to get a couple of calls to their benefit due to the fact that they weren't holding the weight on engagement, kind of baited the All Blacks into giving away an early push penalty, short on penalty. And Finn Baxter, like I said, there were people telling me that he's going to be good. I remain firm that he's just not quite the same level as the All Blacks props at this stage of his career. And I think that the scrummaging once again, especially in front rowers with Ethan de Groot and loose head, I think the All Blacks will dominate that once again. The lock positions now, the lineouts were very poor for the All Blacks last week. Some of you guys did mention to me that the height for the All Blacks locks were pretty short. And yeah, it really did show a little bit last week. They were very clunky, and the English Mario Toji was able to disrupt that quite a bit. And I think that they have to really hammer down that line out a little bit much better this week than they were last week in that regards. And also the variations when it comes to the lineouts, the All Blacks only have one more 70-something minutes into the game. Like, they did not go for the more option. They just faked the more and try to get the ball out to the backs because, you know, the backs plays rugby, right? Because that's how you play rugby. The forwards doesn't matter. And that needs to be changed. It needs to really varied, like, earn the right to go forward, and like the forwards really need to set a platform in the lineouts with the more and really try to suck the English defenders in a little bit. And also the All Blacks were preemptively setting up for the more defense, and the England was just able to see that and fake a couple of their dummy mores, leading into one of their tries last week as well. So like yeah, the All Blacks really got to outplay there in terms of the lineouts. So Mario Toji, George Martin retains that 4 and 5 jersey this week. In the loose forwards now, the breakdown battle was very fierce last week. Sammy Penny-Finau coming number 6, Dawson Papali'i number 7, Adi Savea number 8. All 3 players are pretty good ball carriers, but they were not really used at all last week. Yeah, the breakdowns was the All Blacks was able to get more dominance in the second half especially, but in the first half I thought the English probably had a little bit more advantage there at the breakdowns, and it does look like that's going to be an area that the All Blacks really need to lift a bit more, especially in that first half. Chandler Cunningham South, he was very physical once again. That's what she's shown in a couple of weeks now. A very promising prospect for the English as well. Sam Underhill, number 7, and Ben Earl, the best forward in the English 4-pack. Again, just his ability to force those breakdowns, to pressure those tight areas was really instrumental in getting the All Blacks defense to go backwards and also challenging those kicking game as well. So yeah, I think the All Blacks in the loose forwards probably, I would probably say that especially in the first half, the All Blacks loose forwards was probably a little bit behind the English side. Coming in the back line now, Finlay Christie moves up to number 9 from the bench next to Damien McKenzie. I thought they were really clunky last week, to be honest, on the bench. TJ Perenara was clunky with Damien McKenzie as well. So maybe they've had a week to polish up a little bit more. I do think that Finlay Christie's style fits Damien McKenzie a little bit better as a ball distributor. But yeah, we'll have to say they have to really polish it a little bit up. I think they're a little bit behind in terms of combination as opposed to the English. So Alex Mitchell, Marcus Smith. Alex Mitchell is the most dangerous man on the field. He's probably more of a playmaker than Marcus Smith. Alex Mitchell, when he has the ball behind the rocks, he always looks for options before he passes the ball away. In fact, Marcus Smith is a threat. It's a big threat because the way Alex Mitchell is able to create space around the rocks for Marcus Smith. So that is one of the areas that England probably will exploit once again, because especially the fact that it's how well it went for them last week. A lot of that forward momentum came from Alex Mitchell just taking on the gang line and then do a little short feed to his supporting ball runners, to his big forwards, and just getting that forward momentum down packed. In the back line now, Mark Delaire coming in number 11, Tommy Freeman number 11 as well. The All Blacks was just swinging the ball out wide, without going forward. So the wingers was very ineffective for the most of the match. With those running game, because the rush defense. So the All Blacks have to really think about that, how they want to use Mark Delaire this week. Maybe bring him in a little bit closer and straighten up a little bit. Number 12 and 13 combination, Jordy Barrett and Rieko Ioane. I was surprised as well to see Rieko once again being selected. Last week, he wasn't that great. He made a few mistakes early in the first half and just, wasn't really getting that dominance that you really want in terms of carrying the ball instead of breaking through the gang lines. And I thought Anton Leonard-Brown probably should have an opportunity here, and we'll have to see if that's going to be another issue this week. Ollie Lawrence and Henry Slate were absolutely brilliant last week. Physicality from Ollie Lawrence, shutting down Jordy Barrett, just putting big shots on him, and Henry Slate, the rush defense, completely shutting out the option center field. It was just, magnificent. It was really, really well done for them. Big tick there for the England side. Number 14, Seville Reese, showed a lot of promise under the high ball last week. Chasing and tackling really hard and getting the turnover. Didn't actually get a turnover, but like trying to force the turnover breakdowns was something that he did really well last week, and something that maybe the All Blacks can consider this week, especially with that kicking game was really lacking before Bodie Barrett came onto the field. And once he came on, the variety, the deeper kicks really opened up options for players like Seville Reese to commit to hit to the attack. Emmanuel Fei-Waboso was really quiet last week, to be honest with you. Again, defensively, he was excellent, and I think the England attack and bringing him probably a little bit closer to get a bit more value out of him there. Fullback position now, both fullbacks really didn't do much kicking last week. Steven Perifetta and George Furbank were opting a lot of that gameplay to counter-attack. It's something that we were expecting kind of from both of these players. You know, the reason why Steven Perifetta is selected because he had one of the lowest kicking stats out of all Super Rugby and one of the highest run meters. So that is literally one of the reasons why he was selected at number 15. And George Furbank as well. The reason why the reason why, you know, Eddie Jones' favorite son, England's goalkeeper, Freddie Stewart, isn't selected here is because of the fact that England's shifting away from that kicking game and from the high ball game and more into that counter attack. Like more often than not last week, George Furbank counter attacked into a very high efficiency for England's side. Now this is where England lost the game last week. If you say that England won the game in the first half, this is where they lost the second half. This is the bench, the All Blacks bench. Once again, just this is probably the best bench that the All Blacks has put on before since the last at least 4 years. This is so good, so dominant, and he showed last week how good they are being able to pull the team out of a tight spot. Again, the scrummaging was just absolute dominance. Osafa Aumua, one of the best ball runners as well. Ofa Tuangafasi, extremely high work rate, and Fletcher Newell, again, just one of the biggest high work rate workhorses coming off the bench. I think that is the theme of the selection in the bench. It's just work rate. All three of these forwards are just incredible numbers, especially players like Fletcher Newell and Tuangafasi as well. The missed tackle count for these two guys are extremely low, extremely good at defensive measures. For the English, Theo Dan, I think he had a decent. It has been in and out for England in the past, in the loose in England in the past. Same with Bevan Rod. They both has been in and out a little bit. I think Theo Dan had more opportunity than Bevan Rod. Bevan Rod had very few games for England, but he's finally back into the fold next to the veteran Dan Cole. I just don't see that. Again, these three, in terms of scrummaging, I just don't see that these three will have any chance against Tuangafasi, Fletcher Newell, and Asafa Aumua. So yeah, another thing that England has to scratch their head a little bit. Their performance literally went down a slide the second half when the reserves came onto the field. So they really didn't have to pick that up for this second match if they want to have any chance. Tupavai, Luke Jacobson brought on a lot of speed in the second half as well, especially Luke Jacobson, a lot more urgency around the breakdown as well. And that was probably one of the key areas that New Zealand actually turned around, started winning is the breakdowns in that second half. Alex Coles and Tom Curry for the England side. I think Tom Curry was okay in the second half, but overall, yeah, the forward pack for the England was definitely behind in terms of the contest. Cortez Ratama comes in number 21. He's a guy that a lot of New Zealand fans has been very high about, and I'll be looking forward to see how he played this week. He'll get his opportunity for the All Blacks. And Ben Spencer was horrendous last week for the English. Once he came onto the field, it's day and night difference between him and Alex Mitchell. The ball was way slower. He was literally standing around, having a break, looking around, taking ages to decide where the ball needs to go. And the English attack literally had lost all of his spice, all of its polish once Alex Mitchell came off the field and when Ben Spencer came on. So yeah, big issue there. Anton Lennon-Brown only played 10 minutes last week, so I was hoping that I really thought he was probably going to get put on a lot earlier because Rico wasn't performing, and we'll have to see if he gets more time. And Finn Smith and Ollie Slyhorn as well, both pretty new players. I think Slyhorn is his debut match last week as well. this will be at Eden Park, and both players really, was, again, once Anton Lienert-Brown and Beauden Barrett came on, the game literally shifted towards the All Blacks' favour, and I think that Finn Smith and Ollie Slyhorn, again, might have to put on a little better performance this week, put a bit more work rate this week to try to match the veterans on the All Blacks side. Beauden Barrett had his 120th test catch last week, and Anton Lienert-Brown had his 71st, so both of these players will add up, almost 200 test caps, close to 200 test caps, and Finn Smith and Ollie Slyhorn had 3 test caps in total or something, 4 test cap in total between the two of them. That's the difference in experience there. So this game at Eden Park, I think the English, with an extra week of preparation for the All Blacks, they should be able to do a lot better, considering that despite getting themselves caught with the pants down last week, they're still able to win the game. So I think that the All Blacks will definitely win this one, 35 points to 15. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your predictions, and thanks for watching. Have a good week. I'll see you guys for the review on the weekend. Cheers.